I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? Are you kidding me? This is a jitty. It looks like Saquon Barkley, John.
I don't know. You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday morning. Hope you all had a nice Friday. I can't believe I'm going to end up having a losing day today. It was looking so good earlier, and everything, well, I shouldn't say everything. It's not a terrible day, but it was looking like I was going to have a monster Friday just a couple hours ago. The Nationals blew the lead. The Padres got up early, gave that right away. Really frustrated. I really liked that Diamondbacks Dodgers under, and then Ohtani was scratched, which sucks. Just some bad luck. But yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez ended up pitching pretty well in that one. But yeah, we're on to Saturday. Gonna have Duck on later to talk some college football for those of you that want to hang out. Sorry about the World Cup. No BLT tonight, I guess. I sent him the invite. He didn't join, didn't answer the DM. So it's Friday night. Maybe he's out doing something. But we're gonna first of all, Spoon, how was your Friday night?
Not a great night for me. Had a couple tough luck losses, down about a unit and a half.
That's what I think I'm going to be about, down unit and a half, 2 units, I think. Unless the Padres come back and win. And then in which case it'll be about break even, I think. Actually, I'm not sure. Toast, what do you think?
I'm up about 1.5, 1.7 units, give or take. So
you're having a good day?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually saw you were having a good day earlier.
A huge part is Arizona. I got them at 210 in the first 5 that cashed already, and then I have them 233 for the money line. So,
oh yeah, that certainly will soften the blow.
Yeah.
All right, so this first one's a doubleheader. I'm not sure how much you guys want to talk about it. Spoon, any thoughts on the doubleheader?
I mean, if you're getting Milwaukee this close to plus money or above plus money, Bubba Chandler, he's a decent pitcher, but I mean, he's had some low lows this season in an offense like Milwaukee. They could open up a big inning and Pittsburgh just plays for the second game at that point. I like Milwaukee in both of these games tomorrow, to be honest.
I'll just put the Brewers up. I'm not going to be betting. Toast, any interest? Nope. All right, cool. Let's go on to Angels Twins. Joe Ryan's on the mound against Ryan Johnson, not Reed Detmers. I was going to say Reed Detmers just pitched. So it's Ryan Johnson against Joe Ryan. Twins around minus 165 here. Spoon, you like the Angels to get to Joe Ryan?
Not really. I think Joe Ryan's going to go out there, have a pretty quality start. The only thing that bothers me is he is scheduled to pitch in the All-Star game, and that's just a few days away. It's not going to allow for regular rest. I kind of have some question marks if maybe Joe Ryan has a little bit of a pitch limit in there. And if that's the case, then I don't think I really want to back Minnesota. And I think Minnesota's bullpen is bad enough to give up some runs here. I think my favorite play in this game is just getting to the over. I haven't moved on it yet, though.
The over? Did we lose Toast?
I was wondering if my internet was acting weird again. I was like,
no,
yours was completely fine.
Your connection is green right now, Spoon. So, oh no, Toast is here. I don't know. He just dropped off the screen for a second, but he's in the background. There you go.
I don't know what happened.
Oh yeah, we're good. It says your connection's good. Joe Ryan against the Angels. What do you think? Spoon's leaning towards the over.
Same type of situation. I lean the over. I was looking at a Minnesota team total, but I didn't have the number yet. I don't think it was posted when I looked, but it's the same type of thing. I don't know how long you're going to see Joe Ryan. I 100% agree with what he just said. That doesn't take away from how good he has been, but even if he also hasn't given up a run, I don't think in his last couple starts, sooner or later, as I like to say, that dam is going to break. And he's coming off 2 really big starts against the Yankees and the Astros, 2 big name teams. I think that the Angels are more than capable of putting a couple runs up today or tomorrow, and then Ryan Johnson is just absolutely terrible. This Minnesota team is absolutely destroying. But more than anything as well, that Angels bullpen that's been so very good is not in a really good situation with Yates on back-to-back, Bachman in back-to-back. Sefferhan didn't work today, but he's still 2 of the last 3. So it's just really not a good situation for them. So I think you're going to see some of the lower-level arms. I think there's possibility for runs all over the place. I didn't bet it, though. I wanted it 8.5.
So, Spoon, you're thinking Joe Ryan could have a shortened appearance here, or you won't really know?
So there's nothing official out there right now, but he's going to pitch in the All-Star game right now. And I just don't see him going past like the 85 pitch mark in a game that's kind of meaningless to them here right now. I don't know. I do expect a little bit of a shortened start.
I'm good on this game. Sucks too. Let's move on to the next one.
It's not the sexiest slate tomorrow.
Athletics, White Sox. Gauge jump, Spoon. I think I've about had it with this kid.
Backed him in a couple home starts. He's got a .5 ERA on the road this season. Hasn't given up a home run. I'm not that worried about Gauge jump. I think this has just created a buy low opportunity. Athletics bats had just lost Kurtz, though. That is a huge loss for the team, likely headed to the IL. I don't think that's an official move yet, but I don't think he's going to play before the All-Star break, pretty sure. So I think it's going to be harder to get some runs up, but I mean, you have Eric Fetty on the mound, Gauge jump. There's definitely an early advantage for the Athletics. I went and looked at the first 5 line when it came out. It was 135, 140-ish. That's a little too expensive. I found a first 3 line sitting minus 120. I don't see any shape and form where Gauge jump gets outperformed by Eric Fetty through 3 innings. I moved on that minus 120.
It's a money line?
Yes, first 3 money line.
He's
First what?
He's first 3 money line minus 120. All right. Toast.
The
Ace can't hit. Yeah, why not an under?
That's what I said. I under first 5 under. I thought there's only 4.5s and they're plus 114. If you can find like a juice 5 or make yourself a juice 5 or something like that, I don't even hate the full game under. That's fine too. I know that Kyle would probably be more comfortable with that either way, but I do worry about the Athletics bullpen. They are really, really bad, but I don't expect this Athletics team to do anything. I mean, they were already terrible with Kurtz in the lineup. And you take him out. I know that they've gotten a couple guys back, but I don't think and they've also lost Geloff. So there's been a lot of moving pieces in that lineup. I don't trust them at all. Not that I'm trying to back Eric Fetty every time he goes out there, but I mean, he's not getting absolutely throttled. I mean, he's giving you 5 innings of 2 or 3 run baseball. It's under for me. There's nothing else I would even remotely even consider.
Yeah, and the weather's it's like an average weather day at Rate Field. Are either of these bullpens taxed? No, because the White Sox won $1 billion to 1 today.
Yeah.
Why is this 9?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't.
Are we saying because Murakami's back? Is Murakami going to play, or is like?
Yeah,
the reason I'm asking that, sometimes when guys comes back from the injury, they're not immediately everyday guys. That's why I asked.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he should, but he's better versus righties. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Are you going full game?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I want to pay like 125 for a 9.5 if I can find it. I don't think I'm going to get it.
Pinnacle has a first 5 under 5. I would take that if I could get it. I can only get 4.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just can't. That's what sucks.
Let me get this under, and then we'll move on. I got an under 9 at plus money.
Yeah, I need somebody up with the Hard Rock account.
Won't last long.
I know. I was just about to say for like 3 or 4 good days.
All right, I'm on the under here. 9 plus 103 is actually what I took.
Oh, that's better than I can get right now.
All right, sorry about that. Let's move on. Colorado against the Giants. This game's still going on. It's 1-1 in the 7th, I believe. No, 1-1 in bottom 6.
Oh my God. The Rockies didn't score. Okay. The Rockies had top. It was top. 'Cause I have the under 8.5. It was top 6. Rockies had the bases loaded, no outs. And they went pop up, strikeout, ground out. Awesome. Love it.
So Tyler Mahle against Kyle Freeland. Obviously, this game's not over, so we don't know what the bullpen situation is going to look like. Any thoughts, Toast?
It would be. I mean, I guess Colorado or pass, just because there's no chance in hell that I could lay that number with San Francisco. I would play an under again, but I don't hate that especially if depending on what these bullpens look like, but it's a close game, so the chances are they're all going to be used. So I don't know. This like we talked about yesterday, this Rockies team they can look really good on the spreadsheet, and sometimes it can really hurt you at times. So it would only be the Rockies, but or the under. I just can't really bet it.
Spoon, any thoughts?
Giants have Matt Chapman out through the All-Star break. Really not as high on this Giants offense as you are. I kind of like Colorado here. I know it's tough to trust this team, but I think we can get some runs on the board versus Mahle. Pretty big plus money there, but I haven't pulled the trigger on this yet.
It would be, to be honest, I feel like the fair price for this one would shift pretty dramatically if one of these teams were to take a 2-1 lead right now in this game, because we're in the bottom of the 6th. If a team was to take a 2-1 lead right now, that would mean they probably break out their 2 or 3 main bullpen arms, which would shift my opinion on this game. So really would like to, if I'd be down to play the Rockies if the Giants, they're in the bottom of the 6th. If the Giants hit a solo home run right now and took a 2-1 lead, that means they're in the top 7, top 8, top 9. They're going to use their main bullpen arms. I'd be down to play this with you, Spoon. But I just don't want to take this and then have the Rockies take the lead and have them use their main bullpen arms.
Okay, so somebody monitor this for us, because we're not going to be able to do it on the show, because if that situation were to play out, Killian, Miller, and Brubaker all threw yesterday as well, so they would all be on back-to-back days. So
I want the Giants to take a 2-1 lead right now, and then I'll take the Rockies right now, regardless of how it even plays out. Yeah, I'll put Rockies up, but I'm only placing it if the Giants were to take a lead in this game.
Jesus fucking Christ! I'm pretty sure it's a double play. Whatever.
Yankees Nationals. Good Lord, Nationals.
Oh, that hurt.
Jazz
it's always up. Well, and then Austin Wells on top of that. It's just like, okay, whatever. You guys win.
Spoon, do you like the Nationals to get to Schlittler?
Not really. I was just kind of looking deeper into the weather in this game. Pretty high chance for rain. I was just trying to figure out if they'll be able to get it in. I do think they'll be able to push it back and get this game in. Not 100% sure it goes, but Cam Schlittler has been scratched from the All-Star game already, so there's no need for concern there. I think he goes out and has another good game. This Washington bullpen is awful, as we saw today. They took a lead there late and evaporated twice. I think between Michaelis, that bullpen, the Yankees are going to put up quite a few runs. I was looking at the -1.5 with the Yankees. I know it's like -114. That's the only way I could get. I just don't think Washington contributes enough to really get to an over. Yankees bullpen's pretty taxed. Didn't look too deep into it. You made a spreadsheet. I could.
Spreadsheet.
Yankees bullpen's really taxed there.
It's not too bad. Bednar threw
as
27.
Far as who went today.
Bednar threw 27. But they use him, so like I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there again. Now I think the Yankees should have everyone available. The Nationals maybe no Justin Lawrence. That might be a positive.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? But nothing really jumps out as far as the bullpens. So are we just saying, okay, the Yankees bats are back because they scored runs today? Because they have been the worst lineup in baseball over the last 2 weeks.
Not back, but it's Washington's bullpen, and we're going to see a lot of it.
It would be under or pass for me. I have no interest in actually betting this game, but I do think that Schiller can continue to pitch well. But this is a 9 total. So even if he were to give up a couple runs, I mean, the only thing is, does Michaelis get absolutely throttled? And I say probably not. I mean, he's more than capable of giving it up. There's no question about that. But I would really have to see it from this Yankees team before I believe it. So I know they put up 12 on Thursday, but they did absolutely nothing today until late in the game. So if they hit a whole bunch of home runs tomorrow, so be it. But it would only be the under for me. Nothing else even makes sense.
Yeah, the Yankees are way too expensive, but I'm not trying to fade Schlittler with Mike.
Yeah, I'm not
on
in the
mound.
Nationals. There's no chance. Yeah, no way.
This sucks.
I mean, maybe a Nationals team total under if you're really trying to bet on Schlittler.
I guess I'll put an under up too, but no, I'm not betting this. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, it's PrizePicks time. All right. Let's get the graphics up on the screen here, and we got first up. This is you, Toast.
Yeah, another game like today that I hit my PrizePicks today, which felt good. Doing the same type of situation in a game that I think there's going to be runs on both sides. Carson Kelly and Seihei Suzuki for the Cubs. Both of them absolutely demolished left-handed pitching. Suzuki 155 WRC plus this year. Carson Kelly 161 WRC plus this year. And then for the Reds, Sal Stewart's in a really good spot. I think he's been really good all year. And then Ellie De La Cruz as well, hitting at the top of the lineup. Those are my 4 for tomorrow.
Claude exclusive. Carter Jensen higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Sal Stewart higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And Bobby Witt Jr. higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's brought to you by PrizePicks. Play $5 to get $50 instantly in lineups. That's by using the promo code HMA. Link is also in the description. Red Sox, Mets, man. Oh my God. One more loss and it's over.
You're sending it out.
One more loss.
Been drafted, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, I said I would declare the Mets season over unless they go 5-2 in these last 7 games. So they got to win out. Freddie Peralta against Bayo. Toast, your boy Bayo back on the mound.
He's back. They're gonna call him up from Worcester or whatever it's called. I don't know if they're going to use an opener for him. I doubt it, because why would they? It's the Red Sox. That's when he performs well. But, I mean, he should get slaughtered. Freddie Peralta could get slaughtered. I mean, it's over a pass for me. I don't really have an interest betting the side because I really don't know what to think of Bayo. I'm sure but at this Mets offense, the way that they're performing right now, I know that they had a little bit of a down day, but I still think they could get to him. And Freddie Peralta hasn't been good in Queens all year. So maybe he shows up because they're trying to trade him and he wants to show that he wants to stay around. I don't know, but this Boston team is red hot right now. They're a lot better versus left-handed pitching. There's no question about that, but they are playing extremely good baseball right now, even without Contreras in the lineup. So, I mean, look at today. I mean, they had they got to the game there an hour before the start, got their shoes on, and then went out there and won. It'd be over a pass.
Peralta, Steady Freddy has been better at home.
I don't trust it.
Yeah, he isn't giving you much trust. Spoon, what do you think?
I want to trust Freddie Peralta here. I mean, minus 140 versus a AAA arm and Brian Bayo coming up. He's not doing that great in the minor leagues either. Just gave up 3 earned runs on 5 hits in his last outing, just 5 innings pitched. I think the Mets are going to tear him up. The real question mark is Peralta, but Boston hasn't really been getting to right-handed pitching here recently. They just got 5 off Martin. They got 6 off Michaelis. The numbers on the spreadsheet make it seem worse, but I think Peralta can go out there, pitch well. I'd like to get to the Mets, but all the value is kind of ripped away from it. Books are slow to open this because Bayo was listed late. Minus 150 is the best number I see at a book. I think you can trade a little better than that. I'd be interested if I could get minus 140 or better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mets win. It's just there's no way the way Freddie Peralta has pitched, he's been anything but reliable. The way he's been pitched and the way the Red Sox are coming around. Look, I think the Mets win. I think they should be favored, but there's just no way you're going to convince me that the fair price for this is like minus 160. I can't. Not to mention, Bayo's the type of dude that like will come up from AAA and pitch well for 2 starts and then suck again. It's kind of like the path of his career where he's like, he's trash. We all make fun of him. He goes down to AAA, comes back up, and then randomly throws 2 gems, and then reverts back.
To your point, we've already seen that this year. He was crap. They used an opener for him. He was awesome for like 2 or 3 starts. They took the opener away. He was trash again, and they sent him down. And now he's coming back up.
Yeah, I mean, he got crushed by the Orioles this last time out. Look at the 2 times before that. 7 shutout against Cleveland, 5 shutout against the Twins, even though he allowed a bunch of base runners. Threw a gem against the Phillies, threw a gem against the Tigers. I don't really know how much of a gas can Bayo is. He's capable of pitching well. And the Mets can always Met. I'm passing. I don't know.
Coward.
There's just no way I can bet the Mets at this number.
No,
at this price, it would probably be Red Sox, to be honest.
I was actually wondering if we would be able to get you to bet anything tomorrow. I had circled like 2 games that you might actually bet.
I'll put Red Sox up. But, next up, Seattle, Tampa. Rays came through for us. Comfortable win. Logan Gilbert against Griffin Jacks. This is really a test. Because obviously the Rays at home have been automatic. They're hitting. They're always winning at the Trop. The Seattle's ice cold. So how can you not take the Rays at this price? That's on one hand. On the other hand, man, Logan Gilbert at plus 105 against Griffin Jacks is very affordable. Spoon, what are your thoughts on Logan Gilbert going into the Trop here?
It's hard to predict a bad start from him. I think he's going to go out there, give him some decent workload. 6-7 innings are definitely in the works. But at some point in time, we do expect that dam to break and him to give up some runs. We just saw it versus a pretty lefty-heavy lineup in Cleveland. They were able to get 4 earned runs off him. Tampa Bay's built similarly. I think this is a lineup that finds ways to kind of manufacture those runs. I like Tampa Bay in this game. Griffin Jacks has been solid on the mound. As bad as Seattle's been here on the road and versus righties here recently, I could only get to Tampa Bay. I expect at this price Seattle to take money. I don't think there's any reason to move on Tampa Bay without a plus money sign next to them. But just the way this sets up, you have the better team. You don't have the better starting pitcher, but I think bullpens are about a wash here right now. I like Tampa Bay. I'm not betting against this team at home.
You think Seattle's going to take money? We're polling
plus money with Logan Gilbert. So we did the voice chat here earlier, and everybody, that was the first sentence. Like, how are we not taking Logan Gilbert at plus money here?
Well, we're polling 60% Rays, 18% Mariners right now. Toast, what do you think?
I don't know how you pass it up with plus money with Logan Gilbert. I don't. What you said to start this off, to send it to Spoon, is like everything that I wrestled with. Like, 'cause I'm not a big Griffin Jacks guy. I don't think that he's as good as what he has shown. But so far this year. But if you look on the spreadsheets, like especially like John's, I mean, it's red across the board. Strikeout rate's high, walk rate's low, K to BB ratio is high, the swinging strikes rate's really high, the chase is high. I mean, everything is really, really good. The only thing that you can say that's even negative is expected ERA is a close to a 5. So, but besides that, I mean, he's been very, very good for this team, and he has given up runs. But I mean, if you're Seattle and you're Logan Gilbert, I mean, this is what they pay you for. You're the stopper. This is like, you're supposed to be the ace of this staff. Like, if you can't go into Tampa Bay and give this team a chance to win, and what the hell are we doing? I mean, and Jacks does struggle with lefties. They're going to be able to load it with lefties. I don't know. I don't know if I can actually do it, because I almost bet Tampa every game at home, but I don't know. Yeah. It's very, very tempting.
Well, as far as this
also like the under here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. As far as the side, I think I would side with Spoon. I'd be closer to betting the Rays than the Mariners. But yeah, you're paying for an under. It's a juiced 7.5 to the under. And Logan Gilbert, when he's off, he's very good. But when he has an off day, he's like really off. These games suck.
I told you.
Next up, Cleveland, Miami. Oh, Guardians came through for me. First 5 money line. That was cool. And the Guardians ended up putting Cade Smith out there a third straight day to close it out. So I can
Gaddis.
Yeah, so they're not going to have those two guys. The way they manage their bullpen is wild, that team, but it worked for them. Toast, Yuri Perez, Tanner Bybee. Who has the starting pitching advantage here?
Miami.
You think you trust Perez?
I trust what I've seen from him. I know that he was hurt, but I think it's him. I think that he's a better pitcher. I mean that's a very good argument to have. Bybee's pitched more, but I mean, yeah, I think that Miami has a lot of advantages in this game. I'm very close to pressing the button with them. And that's not me trying to take shots at Tanner Bybee at all. He's been really good for this Cleveland team. There's no question about that. Goes 6-7 innings every time he goes out there. I mean, he's been an absolute workhorse for this team. But I mean, this Marlins team it continues to find ways to win, continues to find ways just to punish right-handed pitching in every way possible. They can hit for power. They can hit singles and steal bases. It's really kind of fun to watch this Marlins team play baseball. So obviously I think I have a small starting pitching advantage. Even if you wanted to call it a wash, I'm good with that. But I also feel like I have a huge offensive advantage there with Miami. And then as far as the bullpens are concerned, you talked about it, and I'm sure you're going to pull it up on the screen. I mean, the Cleveland bullpen is absolutely throttled, and the Miami bullpen is well rested and good to go. I know that the Miami bullpen has been used a lot over the last week and a half or so some of their numbers aren't great, but they've been one of the best bullpens in baseball all season. I think that we have an advantage in all 3 phases. I think that Miami should be close to 140 or if not higher. I'm very close to betting Miami.
I can get on board with this. Minus 138 is expensive, but I think it's warranted. I'll play the fish. Oh, it's minus 142 now. Damn it. What do you think, Spoon?
I moved on Miami at minus 140. That was at a book as well. I think that's still open. Yuri Perez coming back from injury. That first start didn't look great, but since then he's had back-to-back starts with 8 strikeouts, pitching into the 6th, or getting outs in the 6th in both of those games, including all the way through the 7th without giving up a run versus the Athletics. Probably the best start of his career. Always a little scary to back a guy like that, but this is a very talented pitcher, and I think we can see a lot more of those starts moving forward. He does not struggle with lefties. His splits, in fact, say he's better versus lefties, so I think this is a decent matchup for him. With this Cleveland lineup, you're going to see maybe 2 switches in there, a righty, and then the rest are going to be lefties. So this is a really nice spot for Perez, in my opinion. And then you guys talked about the bullpen. The 2 best arms, most reliable arms there for Cleveland are on 3 days in a row. You're not going to see him 4 days in a row, even right before the All-Star break. That would be the most Cleveland move ever, though.
Yeah, that would be. And one other thing I wanted to add, kind of the buy signal for me with Yuri Perez is that the one knock on him is that he can't pitch well on the road. His last 3 road starts, only 4 innings in Toronto, didn't give up a run, but that was because he got hurt in that game. And then Colorado and Sacramento, 2 very high scoring run environments. He went 12 innings and gave up 1 run. Obviously those offenses aren't great, but neither is Cleveland. I think he pitches a gem tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet the Marlins minus 142. I certainly paid for it, but Padres are actually making it interesting in the bottom of the 9th.
Nice.
Phillies Tigers. Tigers won big today. I know a lot of you guys had Detroit too. Casey Mize against Christopher Sanchez. Is this affordable, Spoon?
It looks pretty affordable for Philadelphia. You see a minus 128 next to their name. Christopher Sanchez is another one of the guys in the All-Star game that gives me question marks on how much he's actually going to pitch tomorrow. There's nothing that says they're going to limit his innings, but the All-Star game is in Philadelphia. Mizorowski's not going to be pitching in the game, so I think Sanchez is pretty much going to get the ball to open that. This is a really big game for him. I mean, he's continued to pitch well all season, but he's coming off a really rough start, and he hasn't had a lot of those. So can Detroit get to him again? I don't really think so. I think he bounces back, has a good start, but I don't think this is one of his 7-inning kind of outings. I think this is probably a 5 and done, maybe 6 if he's efficient, which he very well can be. He's one of those ground ball guys. But look at Casey Mize on the other side. He's been just elite at getting lefties out. .82 whip this season, 479 OPS, some of the best numbers in the game. So versus a Phillies lineup where all the damage comes from the left-hand side and bats like Schwarber and Harper, I think Casey Mize can go out there and pitch very well too. I moved on the under 7.5. I had to pay -120 for it. I think this closes flat 7s everywhere tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with an under with these two pitchers on the mound. Toast, what do you think?
I'm going to bet the Tigers. I'm just going to give it a couple hours to see if Philadelphia takes money here. Not that I'm in a spot where I'm looking to fade Christopher Sanchez over and over again, but his last 3 road starts have been just bad, just plain bad. Milwaukee, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 4 runs. Washington, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. On the road in Kansas City, the Mona Lisa of them all, 3 1/3, 12 hits, 9 runs. That's not me trying to say that I think that he's going to get absolutely slaughtered like that again, but I don't think that the pitching advantage, especially with the All-Star game looming in Philadelphia as well, is that big when you have a guy like Spoon talked about in Casey Mize, who's been extremely dominant himself with a 2.64 ERA and a .98 whip, and the expected numbers are all there. I mean, he's been really, really good. And as I continue to say, this Philadelphia team cannot hit on the road. And we saw another game today where, again, they could not hit on the road. I don't think that we should be getting this Tigers team at such a huge price here. I mean, this Tigers team is absolutely red hot, on top of the fact that they're 8-2 their last 10, or maybe it's 9-2 their last 11 after today. But regardless, Philadelphia is perceived to be this red hot team, but really they're 5-5 their last 10, 12-8 their last 20. If that game's today, throw that in there, add 1 to each one. But regardless, and then as far as the bullpens are concerned, I don't think that the Philadelphia Phillies are going to have the lead in this game, where I don't really have to worry about Duran and maybe not even Keller. I think that, and then if that's the case, I still think that I have a pretty good bullpen advantage with the Tigers, or at least it's at least a small advantage. I think the Tigers should be closer to 110 in this game. And Max, I know that Christopher Sanchez deserves or should be commanding a good price, but the Phillies aren't hitting as good as on the road, and Christopher Sanchez is really not pitching as well on the road either. I think this is a little bit overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, the All-Star game's on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
So if Christopher Sanchez is pitching in the All-Star game, how does that work?
I mean, he's supposed to start the All-Star game. I would assume that's what everybody's assuming.
The All-Star game's so dumb, man. Why would you, like, if I'm a Phillies fan, I'm like, fuck that.
Oh, yes, I agree. I would be like, I don't even want to deal with this. I'm excited to have Schwarber and Harper in the home run derby. As a Phillies fan, I don't know if I love that.
Yeah, I'll put the Tigers up too. I completely agree. Phillies hosting the All-Star game in 2 days. Yeah. All right. Royals, Orioles. Noah Cameron, Kyle Bradish. Toast, what are your thoughts here?
Man, it's pretty expensive priced for the Orioles here, but I guess it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Kyle Bradish is definitely have a starting pitching advantage with Kyle Bradish, who has, I guess, been a little bit up and down so far this year, and coming off of 2 mediocre starts at best. I don't think this Cincinnati, where he goes 7 1/3 and 3 runs, I don't think that's really a bad start. The Washington start was bad, but he had been pitching pretty decent. it's just this Royals team. It's just really hard to get a feel for me. I don't really love them versus right-handed pitching, and I should just say hitting in general. But they have been decent versus right-handed pitching, and they have been decent on the road. But then you have to get to Noah Cameron, and I know that he's been kind of terrible at times, but so is this Orioles offense, especially versus left-handed pitching. And if I don't think that he's going to get absolutely blown up tomorrow, we saw again today, this game was close all the way throughout. Messiah hit a home run late to win it for Baltimore, and Baltimore definitely has a better bullpen, but Kittredge is on back-to-back days. Garcia's on lot 2 or 3. I think this game could be a lot closer in the later parts of this ball game. Obviously, it's a total is 9, so they do think that both teams are able to score. I lean Kansas City here personally. I just feel like Baltimore is a little bit too favored in this game. I agree that Bradish is better and stuff, but I don't even know if they're a much better baseball team than the Royals. So this is just a way too big of a price.
I don't know if I'd go Royals because I don't think I trust them to get the Bradish, but with a 9 total, I don't hate like an Orioles team total under 4.5. Spoon, what do you think?
I don't really trust Kyle Bradish and the Orioles enough to lay 160 with them. I think that number is beyond efficient. I think if that was a bettable number, it would be like sitting 135, 140 because of what Toast mentioned. I mean, the back end of the bullpen is taxed. That's what you need to bring it home when you have a guy that's going to go out there and go deep. And that's what Bradish has been doing here recently. His last 4 starts, he's pitched into the 8th inning in 3 of those games. So maybe that takes some of the tax off the bullpen, but I just really struggle to pay that price with him. I think there's maybe some value in the over with the tax bullpen. Could give up some runs late to Kansas City. Bradish, even in those games, he's still giving up 2 or 3 runs. So we can expect a Kansas City maybe 3-4 runs on the board. And I mean, between Noah Cameron and this really bad Royals bullpen, I do expect the Orioles to get some runs on the board. So I was leaning over in this game. Baltimore's offense has not really shown up versus lefties, though. That's probably another thing holding me back. There should be some value on Kansas City if this number keeps climbing. It's not like Noah Cameron doesn't have the tools to succeed. It's just that he's had a little rough patch there. And 2 of those games were versus Tampa Bay, which at the time has been one of the hottest offenses in baseball. So if we kind of look past that, maybe Noah Cameron's a little better than we're giving him credit for.
Giants just scored. Bottom of the 7th, which means they're going to use their 2 main arms in the 8th and 9th. Should we go bet?
Rockies.
Let's go
Kyle
bet
Freeland.
Oh, Kyle Freeland. Holy shit.
They're all running to bet
It's
Kyle
harder to press
Freeland.
the button.
That's how you know it's midnight Eastern on a Friday night on the Sauce channel.
Yeah, Rockies money line. Yeah, it's Kyle Freeland, but also, dude, I mean, Tyler Molly's bad.
Yes, he is bad.
All right, cool. I'm not betting this one, by the way. I put Baltimore team total under 4.5 at plus 100 up, but I'm not going to bet that.
What'd you get on Rockies? 130?
136.
133?
136. Astros Rangers in Arlington. Lambert against Rocker. Spoon, you like Rocker here?
I think Rocker is a guy that has pitched pretty well at home, 4.28 ERA. He struggles a lot more with lefties than he does righties, so that's only really 2 bats in this Astros lineup here tomorrow. He's seen Houston earlier this season, 5 innings pitched, gave up 4 earned runs in that game. Not a terrible start, but I lean Houston here. I think Peter Lambert is a pitcher that's continuously undervalued. And I feel like at this point in the season, Houston's lineup is a step or 2 above where Texas is at. I just don't think they should be plus money. I think this should be a minus 110 on the Houston side. I haven't moved on it, but the back end of the bullpen's fine. Hader hasn't pitched in a few days. Hopefully Brian King doesn't pitch for a few days.
Hopefully Brian King doesn't pitch for a few days. Toast, what do you think?
Well, he pitched tonight, so
Yeah, he was terrible.
I know. I agree with the sentiment that I don't think that Houston should have been 110. So if you could have got that there, it's like a pretty much plus 100 across the board now. But it would be. I mean, I don't even know. I guess Houston because of the price, but I do think that Peter Lambert is better than Kumar Rocker. I think that Kumar Rocker has a lot of talent and stuff, but Peter Lambert's pitched 80 innings with a 115 whip, a 3.55 expected ERA. I mean, you could definitely say that he's been better than Kumar Rocker, and I do think that the Astros have a bullpen advantage. It's just what you get with these lineups, and Langford's back for the Rangers, Pena's back for the Astros, so that definitely does help. I think these are even teams. I think that whatever team is plus money, you probably bet. I don't think that this Rangers team is good, but I think that there's a chance that I don't know.
I think
it would only be the Astros for me.
I think 8.5 is too high for this one. Kumar Rocker is not good, but what he struggles with is lefty bats. Walk Alvarez, and who's scaring you? Is it Lamonte Wade Jr.?
Well, late night Lamont. We're not shading.
Oh my God, you're not going to give him a nickname like late night Lamont.
He got that nickname in San Francisco years ago, my friend.
Late night Lamont.
Oh yeah, baby.
Pretty good one.
Thank you.
So yeah, I always like playing unders in Arlington. Maybe it hasn't been the case this year, but in years past, unders have been. It's been a tough ballpark to score runs in.
Rangers have most of their bullpen good to go too, which helps.
I'll say under or pass. I think this should be a flat 8, but I don't like it enough to. Next up, Cubs Reds. Hunter Green, man, shutting the Cubs down. Spoon.
Oh man, I didn't bet that.
He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. It is what it is. So first off, Steve's calling Nick Lodolo Lardo in the chat was the highlight. Steve's name of the, and then asked how to actually pronounce it, and I was like, "There's not even an R." I was so confused.
You got Steve's on a Friday night. That sucks.
Cubs versus lefties, though, continue to be one of the best lineups in baseball. I think they show up. They get runs off Nick Lodolo. The question mark is on the other side for me. How deep is Hassad going to pitch, and how efficiently? His last 2 games out, he hasn't finished 5 innings, but he has pitched to the 5th inning. 4 1/3 there versus St. Louis. Actually, only into the 3rd inning versus San Diego. They called him up. They need pitching here for a little bit. He's shown the ability to step up in years past. I think this is a weak Reds lineup versus right-handed pitching that he could pitch pretty efficiently with. I was looking at the Cubs' first 5. Let me see what the number moved to.
Taking the Reds bullpen out of it.
I think they have the bullpen advantage. Cubs' first 5 is minus 112. So when we go down to the bullpens, Emilio Pagan is back. They do have Brock Burke. They're still without Ashcraft and Santillan, but you look at the back end for the Cubs. I mean, without Palencia, this is a messy bullpen. Thielbard pitched on back-to-back days before today. I just don't see a lot of arms I'd trust back there.
He thinks the Reds have the bullpen advantage. Chose?
Whew, you guys tell me. I carry a lot of baggage. That guy carries a lot of baggage too. So,
no, your Padres baggage is evident.
Really?
The Cubs have the 23rd in ERA bullpen over the last month.
No, I know.
The Reds have the 6th in ERA.
I get it. You weren't even giving him a chance, though. You're not even giving him a chance. I was. I tell you. I just don't feel like I feel like the Cubs should be a little bit more of a favorite in this game. I know that they've. I don't think that the Lodolo is as good as what he has shown his last 3 starts. Yes, the Milwaukee starts were really impressive, but we know that Baltimore can't do diddly off of left-handed pitching. And even with all those good starts, it's a 146 whip. It's a 612 expected. I mean, he doesn't really do anything that jumps off the page. And like Spoon said, this Chicago team has absolutely dominated left-handed pitching all year long. especially the top 6 guys in the order.
I think it's fading though. They didn't get the Rogers, Liberatore, not really. Kyle Harrison, not really. Robbie Ray, they didn't get to. I think the Cubs suck.
I
Where's
think
Stevie Jones when I need him?
I know.
Stevie Jones
that
will
Rogers
back my
start.
play.
I can't.
That Rogers start was like 2 millimeters away from being a 3 earned run start in multiple innings.
2 millimeters away.
And you get thrown out at the plate on a where you should definitely score. You get a really bad call at second base. I mean,
so now we're moving on to the Cubs didn't score runs on Rogers, but like they almost did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to bet
one of the best
Reds.
pitchers in baseball here recently.
People were talking
got
shit.
sick, he came back.
People were talking shit when I picked the Reds on the show yesterday. Me and Toast picked the Reds, and there were people talking shit about it. It won. I wish I bet it. Kind of want to bet the Reds again.
So the difference is, I think Hunter Green is a way better pitcher than what Lodolo is, and he also throws with the opposite hand.
But TV Jones calls him Goat Dolo.
Yeah, well, Steez calls him Lardo.
Toast, what do you like?
I would be over a pass if I had to make a bet in this game, but it's so disgusting. But it's not that I'm like trying to fade Assad, but because he's actually had he was actually decent versus St. Louis his last time out. But it's in this Reds offense I don't trust. But I agree with Spoon that this Cubs bullpen is hard to trust. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see some runs late. But there's no chance I'd bet this. It started at 10.5 and it's already moved down to 10 in some places. I want nothing to do with it.
This is one of these typical Cubs games that I watch in the middle of the season. I'm like, yep, we're going to win this game. We're going to win this game. 7th inning hits, and the Reds just put up a 4 spot.
This slate is shit, Toast.
I told you if you find a bet or two, I'd be surprised.
Toast, this is a perfect day to bust out your least favorite phrase in the world. What phrase is that?
My least favorite.
Your least favorite phrase in the world. Nothing gets you more mad. When's football start? No, not when's football start. Nothing gets Toast more mad when someone complains about baseball and then pretends that they make a ton of money betting football. Nothing gets Toast more mad than that.
I can't wait till football.
Toast is like, oh yeah, you're killing the NFL? You're killing the NFL?
That's what I'm saying. Like these people act like they're killing the hardest market in the world because they lost on a bullpen blow-up.
When's the NFL start? No, but seriously, when's it start? All right, Braves, Cardinals.
I will say the way that you've been going about college football and learning about not like because I watch the show. I don't have to, but I watch the show. I'm a little bit excited to watch some of these games and some of these teams.
Yeah, I have that effect. I'm pretty compelling.
And to be honest, Duck, if you're watching the Washington State slander,
he's not watching. It's his anniversary. He said he's going to be getting home just in time. So I don't think he's watching yet. He's probably going to be getting home just in time to hop on.
Fair enough.
Braves, Cardinals in St. Louis. This game's still going on, so we're not really sure what the bullpen situation is going to be. But any general thoughts here? Reynaldo Lopez against Liberatore, Toast?
Liberatore has been really, really bad. Just under 90 innings with a 153 whip. The expected number is close to 6. There's not one single thing positive I can say about him. Not that this Braves team's doing anything special right now, but I mean, again, there's another 1-run game. So they had one good game in Pittsburgh and a decent series versus the Mets. I still think this offense is terrible. It would probably still be an under or pass. Again, Reynaldo Lopez has been okay to say the least. So I don't know. I would need bullpens and stuff like that. I think there's weather issues as well.
Spoon?
He hit on 2 big things. I think Atlanta's bullpen could be in a situation where they're taxed. It's a tight game going to the later innings, so that's yet to be decided. Also, there's 50-60% chance for rain in the first couple hours of this game, so I don't think it's worth putting too much effort into it here. I wanted to find a way to back Atlanta tomorrow. I think Lopez is a little undervalued, and I really have no faith in Liberatore.
He's bad.
Atlanta's offense is bad too, though.
Yeah, I'm good. Blue Jays Padres. Padres did not come through for me today. Walker Buehler against you, Savage. You'd have to think Blue Jays have the starting pitching advantage. Toast, Blue Jays here, right? Did they use the bullpen arms?
I was just going to say I
didn't make a spreadsheet for this one yet.
Yeah, they used them all. So let me see where they already worked. That's the question, because I think they blew out. No, we're good because they all worked tonight on the 10th, but they all had the day off on the 9th. Farland had the day off on the 8th. So yeah, they should be good to go. It's the same thing as I said yesterday, guys. You guys think that I'm a scorned Padres fan, and you thought that I didn't think that Blue Jays could hit left-handed pitching. This Padres team isn't very good, and JP Sears was never good. And I documented and why I thought that Blue Jays could get to them, because they're not. I don't think they're as terrible as the spreadsheets show. And there's no advantage again here for the Padres. Yes, has Walker Buehler pitched well? Sure, there's no question about that. But his last 2 starts are starting to come off the rails, 9 runs and 7 runs. So my point is, do I think that he's 7 and 9 runs bad? No, but I sure as hell don't think that he's 5 1/3, 1 run every single time he goes out there like he was performing before that. And I do think that it's still a buy low situation with Trey Savage, who I know that didn't look fantastic in Seattle where he gave up 3 runs, but he still went 6 solid innings. And I think that this Padres team and this Seattle team are very similar, where they're just both very, very offensively challenged right now. So I do think that Trey Savage can pitch well. I mean, he's pitched over 70 innings this year with a 108 whip, a 311 expected. He strikes out almost 23% of guys. He's had a little bit of a walk issue, but his over 13% swinging strike rate is one of the best in Major League Baseball. I mean, he gets a lot of swing and miss. I like his strikeouts tomorrow. I like the Blue Jays tomorrow. I don't think that the Padres should be favored against very many teams. I can't stress to you guys how bad this team is playing right now. It would only be the Blue Jays for me.
Yeah, this kind of feels playable for Toronto.
I'm very close.
What do you think, Spoon? The only thing that would hold me back is the bullpen situation for Toronto. So let me just pull that up. I won't be able to pull it on the screen, but I could take a look and see if it's bad.
You should have everybody available.
Yeah, it shouldn't be terrible. They worked today, but they should be fine.
I don't disagree with anything you guys have said here about Toronto. I like Trey Savage a lot. He's only pitched 70 innings. You have guys like Christopher Sanchez that have already broken the 120 inning mark. It's because he had a late start to the season. And there's no pitch count at this point. He's broken 100 already. He's consistently getting in the high 90s. So I think he's going to go out and pitch in one of the most pitcher-friendly environments he's been in this year. The Padres lineup, maybe they're heating up a little bit versus righties, but asked that question a lot this season, and I think this is a spot Savage pitches well. Buehler, he has his spots where he looks really good, but I think Toronto's lineup finds a way to get some runs off him, and I don't see any issues with the bullpen for Toronto. Padres have some really good arms back there, but they haven't been performing well. I think this Padres team is looking forward to the All-Star break. I think this is a great spot for Toronto to get a win. I don't think they should be getting plus money.
Yeah, I agree. I'm putting Toronto.
I just bet Toronto.
What'd you get though? Because we can't get this plus 11 that we have.
No, I got 105. I at this point, if it keeps on going, I think it might be minus 105. Not that.
Toronto, Varland threw 26 pitches. Would he pitch on back-to-back?
Well, they got to him tonight a little bit.
You said Morejon got sent down?
No.
You said that.
No, Rodriguez got sent down for rest, and he was 2 of 3 coming into last night, is what I said.
Is Walker Buehler still pitching well?
No, he's gotten destroyed his last 2 starts.
All right, let's do this. All right, Toronto. The best I can get is plus 105, though.
Well, you might be able to do a little bit better.
We'll see about that. Blue Jays. Plus 105. All right.
Usually you've been getting like 2 or 3 cents better than me on everything, so that's why I said that.
Next up, last game on the board before I talk some college football, and it is Arizona Dodgers. Toast, your boys on the mound.
Well. Not only do we get my boy Brandon Pfaadt, we get my guy Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers. The Dodgers just get embarrassed tonight. We get Brandon Pfaadt coming off of playing two teams that are literally dead in the water, in the Padres and the Giants. If he goes out there and pitches well tomorrow, I will definitely come on here and eat crow. But I think the Dodgers absolutely destroy him. I think that we see a Yamamoto masterpiece. Dodgers -1.5, -115 is what I got. I think it's moved up a little bit, but I think the Dodgers absolutely destroy the Diamondbacks tomorrow.
This should be a beatdown. Spoon?
I was looking at the Dodgers team total. You can get 5.5 on that plus money. I don't hate the -1.5 with the Dodgers. Yamamoto is going to have a good start. I have him penciled in for the All-Star game too. I didn't see if he is announced in or out of that game. So that is a huge question mark. How deep is he going to go into the game? And that's kind of why I was leaning more towards that team total. Just isolate it in case some malarkey starts happening. I think Brandon Pfaadt is a gas can. I think this Dodgers lineup is probably the deepest in baseball, and I think they put up a big number tomorrow.
Jay Steve, Yamamoto shut down my White Sox. Yamamoto is my friend. Like, why does he talk like that? All right, let's talk some college football. Spoon, Toast Spoon's your show tomorrow night.
Yeah, Wine Time and I go live tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern time, breaking down the MLB card. Good luck tomorrow, guys. Enjoy it. Have a good one.
I won't be around during the day. I'm not ignoring everybody. I'm flying, so just know that. But I'll be on the show tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.
You fly tomorrow?
I got to drop my kids off.
You're not staying here, though. You're not staying here.
No, not at your house, no.
All right, cool.
All right, later, boys.
All right, sent the invite to Duck. Where is World Cup? I don't know. BLT no call, no showed. I didn't talk to him today though, so it's not like he said he was gonna come. But no, I sent him the invite, didn't answer. Duck ducked us. No, Duck texted me like 3 minutes ago. He'll be here any second. Duck says I'm home and ready, and that was 10 minutes ago. So. Someone said McClarkey equals rigged. No, I think it's malarkey. I think the word you're looking for is malarkey, not McClarkey. What's up? Oh, got you zoomed in.
My man, how's business?
Business is good, just a Friday night stream for some people hanging out with us late night.
I love it. 553 of them, it looks like. Hope you got them to the window this afternoon and this evening.
Well, I did up until about an hour and a half ago. My night started off awesome, and then a couple games took a turn, as baseball tends to be a sport filled with a lot of variance.
So vicious. It's so weird too, baseball, and I'm not going to tout myself as a baseball bettor. I'm absolutely not. So anyone who's listening in, don't bet any baseball plays I ever give out because I don't handicap it well. It's a game of failure. It's so weird. You play on a weird field. You got the 9 players. It's a game of failure. It's just the best teams only wins 6 out of 10 times. It's just a hard sport to cap.
Yeah, like if Minnesota beats Oregon 49-7, it would be the craziest shit ever. Like, how did that just happen? But if the Pirates beat the Dodgers 7-1, it's like, oh no, that happens. It's regular.
That happens, yes.
Yeah, it's a regular shit. All right. First up, Coastal Carolina, West Virginia. Gonna run through some stuff and then we'll hear Duck's thoughts. So really tough draw for Coastal here to go into Morgantown in the opener. So Tim Beck's gone. We're looking at a new era here. Ryan Beard takes over. He was with Missouri State last year. Nick Petrino is the OC who was with them there at Missouri State. Really not sure what Missouri State's going to do offensively. They were throwing the ball a lot last year, but they're kind of built to run it here with Coastal. We'll have to see how that plays along. Coastal's offense was terrible last season, and they go on the road to West Virginia, who was very strong against the run last year. Now, West Virginia's defense has a ton of turnover, but you know what? They finished out the season pretty strong defensively, and in Morgantown, they're always tough there. That dates back years. Tough defense to go on the road and move the ball against. I really don't know what's going on at quarterback. I think it's going to be Trey Guerra, who I believe is from JUCO, but they also brought over Deuce Bailey from Missouri State. Big question mark at the quarterback position. They are solid at running back, which is kind of what my point is. This team's built where I guess they might be able to run the ball, but in terms of a passing attack, I'm not sure what we're going to get from the quarterback position. Also, a lot of question marks in terms of the pass catchers. Offensive line, I see how these are all yellow. I read in an article that 2 of the starters were out for all of spring, but I couldn't even figure out which 2. That's a little information I had. I didn't even know which 2 starters missed spring. But yeah, they were dealing with some injuries on the offensive line. Also, as you can see, the gray here, all built through the portal. Left tackles from Jackson State. Missouri State came with his coach. Center from Central Michigan. So going on the road to Morgantown against a defense that was very strong against the run. And like I said, they finished the year strong. Here's their last 5 games here. They allowed 30.8 points per game, but you got to remember, this is a Rich Rodriguez team. It's going to be 80 possessions, 80 plays apiece here. They play at an extremely quick tempo. Look at their numbers against the run in the last 5 games of the year. 2.77 yards per carry allowed, under 34% success rate per rush here. Now, as far as the West Virginia defense, they lost 15 of their top 18 tacklers. It's a complete turnover. I trust the coaching staff, and I trust Morgantown, the environment. I don't think Coastal is going to be able to do much offensively. They're going to try to run the ball. I'm not sure how much success they'll have on the offensive side of the ball. And on the other side of the ball, it just really comes down to how quickly does it click for West Virginia. You look at their numbers from last year, it's bad. But this is a completely different offense. I love this offensive line. As you can see, the last 10 years offensively were West Virginia. It's the worst offense West Virginia has seen since Neil Brown's first year back in 2019. But this offense is completely rebuilt. I personally am a Hawkins guy. In a second, we'll hear what Duck thinks about Michael Hawkins Jr. I'm a Hawkins guy. You got to keep in mind here, guys. Oh, you guys can't see me right now. Let me do this so you can see me. You guys got to keep in mind, Michael Hawkins, when we saw him, he was a true freshman thrown into the starting quarterback role at Oklahoma. He was thrown into an SEC starting quarterback role as a true freshman. If you remember that year, Oklahoma was missing their top 5 or 6 wide receivers. So he's thrown into a starting quarterback role at Oklahoma with no wide receivers, and they couldn't run the ball. So it was just a nightmare position for any freshman quarterback to be in. It's kind of the only time we got a really good look at Hawkins. I like him in Rich Rod's system. I think Hawkins is talented. Also, they're loaded at running back. I mean, look no further. If you watched college football last year, you know who this guy is. I believe he was the nation's leading rusher at Jacksonville State. So they've got a monster at running back. As far as the pass catchers, Duck can go into it. I'm not really sure. Bray's back from last year. I'm not really sure what they have in terms of pass catchers. I love their offensive line, though. This is going to be the offensive line they have this year in comparison to last year, night and day. So this West Virginia offense, I think it's not even going to be comparable to last year's offense. To me, this game comes down to, do you think it clicks right away? I personally think West Virginia can hang 40 in this game. So I would lean West Virginia. I would lean towards an over, but I'm all ears.
Well, Sauce, my man, I thought you did a good job of breaking down the personnel. Coastal Carolina's defense last year stunk. They were complete ass. They allowed 400 or more yards in every single game against an FBS opponent, except Louisiana Monroe. And the only reason why they did not allow over 400 yards against Louisiana Monroe, they did allow 315, was because that game was played in a monsoon and very heavy wind here on the coast of South Carolina. So, I mean, it was just terrible defense. 5.1 yards per carry on the ground surrendered all season. They were weak against the pass. Coastal Carolina had just 19 sacks all season. They absolutely could not stop explosive plays. They were 127th in my aggregate explosiveness surrendered metric, and that measures 20, 30, and 40-yard plays surrendered. Coastal Carolina was just absolutely awful defensively. And this year, you're getting 3 guys from Missouri State along the defensive line. You have an FCS transfer from Alabama A&M. You've got an edge rusher who was productive at Samford University in the FCS ranks, but a bit of a step up in competition here for him. I will say Savion McDowell is back, and he is a very good player for Coastal Carolina. You know, he can drop into the second level or put his fingers in the ground and come off the edge and rush the quarterback. So he's pretty versatile. Trey Brown is a decent player coming back. The secondary, though, you know, they got a guy from Bryant coming in. We're getting Jalen Lee, who comes in from South Dakota State, and Jamarian Wayne, who's back. They also have a Villanova transfer. But there's just so much FCS flavor here with this defense that we're just expecting these guys who produced at the lower level to come into the Sun Belt and be able to produce. And now they're going into a Big 12 road environment. I don't see it. I will say that the offense could be a little bit more consistent with Guerra, who's going to transfer in from the junior college ranks, or potentially Deuce Bailey. They're still kind of in a battle, but I think it'll probably be Guerra who takes the job. Trevor Jackson is also in, but I don't know that he's going to vie for QB1. You know, I could see this group being more consistent as once they settle on Samari Collier at quarterback, they were actually pretty decent offensively. But the problem is the running back room really doesn't wow me. The receivers, they're just kind of okay. Zach Courtney's a decent player and Robbie Washington, but not a tremendous amount of wow factor. You're getting a pair of Conference USA guys who come in. And, you know, the tight end room looks okay, but they haven't used tight ends very consistently since Jamie Chadwell left. So we'll see what Beard attempts to do with the tight end room. The O-line is weak. I think, you know, we're getting 7 transfers in. The guy from CMU that you had mentioned, also players from Florida Atlantic, Jackson State, and Missouri State. So, you know, we'll see. It takes some time for the offensive line to play as a unit and develop some consistency and continuity. Unlikely to happen here on the road at WVU, in my opinion. West Virginia, I think, is a team that significantly upgraded their top to bottom composite talent rank. I love what they did in the portal. SP Plus had these guys as the worst rated Big 12 team when SP Plus was released in the spring, and I thought that was a mistake. Phil Steele and several others have them rated kind of middle of the road in the Big 12, and that's kind of what I think. I love what they did. Again, you mentioned Michael Hawkins, dual threat player, a really good running quarterback, a guy who can make some of the easy throws, which is what ends up manifesting itself in this Rich Rod offense. But just go look back at the previous footage from Jacksonville State when they had a dude in Tyler Huff who could run the show, and go back to the previous West Virginia teams. And not even the 2007 team that was exquisite and was number 2 in the country, but just look at all the consistency he's had when he's got a mobile quarterback who can run the veer option, and they can, you know, he can make smart decisions with when to give it and when to keep it, and a guy who can actually be mobile and gain yards on the ground and pose a threat. Huge. Cam Cook, a complete dude, like you had mentioned, a guy that played under Rich Rodriguez at Jacksonville State, really going to fit the scheme well. The receivers, when they do pass, DJ Epps comes in from Troy, really good receiver in the Sun Belt Conference. Prince Straken, who comes in from Boise State, actually a pretty decent player that I think can catch some passes this year. They're getting Wyoming starting center in on the offensive line. They're getting 3 guys on the defensive line. One of them actually had ended up playing at Coastal Carolina last season. And you're getting Harper Holloman, who comes in from Western Kentucky, who was a guy who had a nose for getting to the quarterback last year in Conference USA. So, yeah, I think they really did upgrade their composite talent. Their defense was not exceptional last year, and I think they're going to have some issues when they get into Big 12 league play on getting stops. But regarding this game, I think Coastal Carolina is going to struggle to contain the run. I think they're going to get gashed on the ground, and they're going to surrender a ton of explosive plays. I just don't see how this unit gets off the field. I don't see how they get West Virginia off schedule and in 3rd and long. And so for WVU, with a mobile quarterback, with everybody else in the second year of the system, it's 3rd and short, it's 4th and go, stay on the field, cash in the red zone. This is an absolute carbon copy, in my opinion, of what we saw last season with the Chants when they played Virginia, but also more similarly and more closely mirrored when they played South Carolina. They lost both of those games 48-7 and 51-7. I absolutely laid the number with West Virginia. I'm not scared of laying the 17.5, 18.5. Anything under 3 touchdowns is a full go. I think the Mountaineers are a prime candidate to put up a 50 spot here.
Wow. Can you get what is it at right now? 17.5?
17.5.
So I'm in agreement. I hadn't bet it, but I will because I was leaning that way. And some notes I had here that I missed for Coastal Carolina. So one thing, if you're a Coastal Carolina fan, Coastal Carolina could not stop the run last year. Ryan Beard should do a decent job with that, and the defensive line that they have should be better than last year. Just the tacklers in space against Rich Rodriguez's offense in the opener. I just am not seeing them making those tackles in open field against guys like Cam Cook. And then, I'll lay it too. I agree. I had West Virginia putting up a big number in this one. The only way West Virginia doesn't win this comfortably is if they just come out and fumble the bag. Like they should win this comfortably. So yeah, we're on the same page there.
I mean, I really think this is one of those where WVU didn't have a lot of feel-good moments last season. They lost on the road at Ohio. They ended up winning the backyard brawl, but wasn't much else. I think this is start this season off on the right foot and you pound these guys into the ground. And, the other thing I will say too, if you're thinking about the second half, worried about the back door, is WVU going to kind of put their foot off of the gas and kind of, pack it in late in the fourth? They're going to get reps for Scotty Fox, and he was their 4th string quarterback last season. He's a guy who's going to get reps. The quarterback could get hurt. They had 3 of them hurt last year. So I think late in the game, we get WVU running their stuff. Could lead to a late score and ensure that this one stays outside the number.
I moved this on to the next game, which is Liberty James Madison, which is an interesting one. So I'm going to take us through real quick, and then we'll see if you agree with some of my thoughts. So I know that you look at the quarterback position for Liberty, you look at the wide receivers, and it doesn't exactly jump off the page, but kind of resembles the Liberty team that was the 2023 13-1 Liberty team, where they had Salter. Because you remember that year, they never threw the ball. All they did was run the ball, and it worked for Jamie Chadwell. So the way this offense
carbon copy of the old Coastal Carolina system with Grayson McCall.
Yeah. Yep. And the way this offense is set up, they've got the running backs, they've got the offensive line. It's just the passing attack is, I'm not sure if it's there, but I kind of like that. Now, you look at James Madison's defense, it's good every single year. The question I have with this defense is, can they do it again? And what I mean by again is, can they lose their head coach, get completely gutted, and still just come out and be an elite defense again? Because we saw it. Cignetti left. He took basically the entire team with him, and then Chesney came in, and somehow James Madison still had a top 25 defense there. Where is it? Yeah, somehow still elite defense. They didn't miss a beat. Cignetti left, took the whole roster with them, and they were still awesome. Well, they kind of have that again because Chesney's gone, and a lot of the roster's gone too. Billy Napier's building from scratch here, pretty much on both sides of the ball. So can they do it again? like I said, Liberty's got the offensive line. They've got running backs. If you don't know who Kanye Udo is, you probably didn't watch college football in 2004 because on Army, he was a monster. In fact, I was surprised he didn't get more touches last year on Arizona State. They had like 4 awesome running backs. He was kind of just buried at the depth chart. He might have even been hurt a little bit. I don't remember. But back on Army in 2024, I think it was, he was awesome. This guy, he's going to be their RB1. This guy, Coleman, looks really good in the spring, but also they have Cam Davis and Peyton Jones, who they like. They're 3 or 4 deep in the running back room here. And like I said, their offensive line should be strong. Is it 3 or 4 starters back? It's 3 or 4 starters back, but I like the offensive line. They're going to be able to run the ball, and that's what they're going to be looking to do is run the ball. And if this was any other year for James Madison, I would say, oh, well, you're shit out of luck because if this is any other year for Liberty, I would say you're shit out of luck because you're not going to be able to run the ball on James Madison. Nobody can run the ball on James Madison. But this is just brand new. Billy Napier comes in. Robert Bala is going to be the defensive coordinator. Robert Bala was with them at Florida. I kind of thought the Florida defense was pretty good this year. I know that they kind of quit on them in the last 4 games. The defense was terrible, but that whole team, Billy Napier was kind of a dead duck there at the end. As far as the James Madison defense, they've got linebackers and that edge rusher. What's his name? Amar Thomas. He's going to be good. He's going to fit the bill. He'll be an elite edge rusher for James Madison. Weatherby's a solid linebacker. They've got linebackers. They've got an edge rusher. I'm not really sure if they have the same loaded defensive line. This guy from West Florida, I was reading a little bit about. Maybe Duck knows about him. For the secondary, a little bit of a question mark. I don't know if this is the same elite run defense that James Madison's had the last 4 years. This is brand new. So I think Liberty can run the ball in this opener on the road against James Madison. In this one, on the other side of the ball, though, do we trust Liberty to make stops? James Madison's offense hasn't been quite as consistently elite as the defense, but it's still been pretty damn good every single year. This offense is gutted even more so than the defense. I believe there's only one returning starter, the center. I don't even think they've officially announced the quarterback yet. I think it's going to be Camden Coleman. The wide receivers, apparently they're deep and talented, but I'm not really even sure who the main ones are going to be. I think this guy, Jeremiah Harrison, is supposed to get a lot of burn. Maybe Duck knows a little bit more than I do about that. I like their running backs. Petaway is probably the best running back in the Sun Belt Conference. Nick Herman is also awesome. He's only a sophomore. He was good as hell at Drake. So this is a really good 1-2 punch as far as the running backs go. Their offensive line is massive. It's just new. 320 pounds, 325 pounds. The center's 295, 325, 328. Their offensive line is huge, and they've got running backs, so I believe that kind of sets the tone of what you think the identity will be for James Madison early. They're probably going to look to be running the football the way their roster is built. But this left tackle, he comes from Wisconsin River Falls, which I didn't know was a thing before this. Wisconsin River Falls. And I think they're starting
D3 program.
Are they? Yes. Duck would know that. So they're it's a D3 left tackle, and then their right tackle, I don't even think he has officially won the job yet. So there's some question marks here. Duck, do you want to take us through the Liberty defense? Because there's a lot of questions on this side of the ball. Also, this guy, Farrar, their linebacker, was limited in the spring, who was supposed to be like one of their main guys. So do you want to take us through the Liberty defense and let me know what you thought about anything I went through?
Yeah, so, I do struggle a little bit to envision that JMU defensively is going to be the dominant force that they were last season. They registered 36 sacks, 87 tackles for loss. They only allowed 29% on third down against them. Red zone defense was solid, but they do lose a lot of the defensive line for James Madison. Like you had mentioned, you're losing every starter from last year in addition to 4 backups. And James Madison is replacing these guys with players from Lamar, Nicholls State, Louisiana Tech, and you're getting second-team guys that include 2 Division II transfers, and I worry that depth is going to be a problem late in the season for JMU. But in this game here, They allowed 2.8 yards per carry on the ground last season, 85 rushing yards per game, and I do not think that the front is going to be nearly as strong. I think we're going to see diminished havoc numbers. I think the tackles for loss is going to drop. The turnovers forced are going to be dropped. And I think that James Madison is going to struggle, at least comparatively to last season, in stopping the run. You mentioned Gannon Weathersby. He's a solid linebacker, and he's a guy... he had 3 sacks. He had 57 tackles last year. The rest of the linebacker group is just a hair unproven. I don't necessarily have a ton of confidence that the transfers are going to just be as stout as what they were last season. So now you're talking the entire front 7 for JMU is at least going to be down a notch. They're not going to be garbage, but they're going to just be down from what we saw last year. Last year, JMU's offense at times was just such a struggle. They were very explosive in some games, but at other times they could not score. They couldn't get a first down. They're struggling badly with Georgia State and teams like that. And it was the defense that really secured and put the thumb on the opponents and really allowed JMU to go on that winning streak and win the conference. The offense is got some question marks, in my opinion. I'm not necessarily sold on either Coleman or J.C. Evans at quarterback. I mean, they're just unproven. It's not Alonzo Barnett. It's not Matthew Sluka. Last year, they had 2 real dudes at quarterback. This year, they really don't have any. George Pettaway is a solid running back, but last year they used 3 running backs, and now they've really just got 1 of the 3 backs. So who's going to replace all the production for James Madison would be a question I have. 6 of the top 7 receivers are gone from last season. You're just banking on a lot of guys from the FCS level to step up. Same thing on the offensive line. Zach Greenberg is a good player. He's a guy to build the offensive line around, a solid performer. But the rest of it, I mean, you're getting some transfers, a D3 guy, a couple guys who played last year on the second platoon, just a notch down. So is JMU going to be able to stop the run like they could last season? No. Are they going to be able to run the ball as explosively and control the line of scrimmage? I really don't think so. I think this year is one where James Madison finds themselves in much more competitive, epic battle games than we saw last season when they just controlled so many of the games late in the year. This game against Liberty really could be one of them. Liberty, the problem with Liberty is they've been such a disappointment now 2 years in a row. And I really wonder why Chadwell hasn't really been able to right the ship. They have not been the same since they had that blowout loss to Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. 2024 was just a goofy year where they were playing in so many close games. They were 8-4 in 2024. They were struggling with New Mexico State, struggling with UTEP. They beat FIU in overtime. They had a 1-point win over UMass. And then last year was just so grotesque, going 4-8, sleepwalking through every game they played. Even the FCS game was tied 7-7 at the half. They lost to Bowling Green. They lose the 4 games at the end. My game grades give Liberty 1 solid performance last season in totality, and that was when they thrashed Delaware. And they're coming off back-to-back seasons where they were 3-9 against the spread. So it's kind of a stinky team. It's kind of a hard team to really rally around as a bettor. It's a hard team to want to back with your money. I will say the competition at quarterback will be good. Ethan Vasco is going to get pushed by Deshaun Purdy. I think Purdy could actually end up winning the job. The X Factor, the guy that you mentioned early when you were talking about this game, is Kanye Udo, and he's going to absolutely run through Conference USA like you would not believe. That guy was unbelievable at Army. I couldn't believe how underutilized he was at Arizona State. Kanye Udo is going to rush for 1,000 yards. He's going to average 5.5 yards a carry. He's going to be very hard to tackle. This guy is an absolute game changer, and when you put in a quarterback, whether it's Vasco with another year in the system or if Purdy is, I think he's equipped with the physical tools, but if he can really get down the system, which is unique that Chadwell likes to deploy, you're going to see the quarterback run, the outside run with one of the running backs. Udo's going to really just create a ton of problems, run the ball through between the tackles. And I think this offense is going to be a lot more explosive. I love what we're going to see from Peyton Jones and Cam Davis. I think they're explosive. Justin Marshall was rock solid. I think we're getting a real fun season in the backfield overall for Liberty. The receivers, They've got some talent, but it's all about the run game for Liberty. And if you just want to put on a little bit of film, go to YouTube and plug in some of those 2020 and 2019, 2021 Coastal Carolina teams. It doesn't matter who your receivers are, because once the running game gets cranking, they run some play action pass and some deceptive stuff off of it. And the receivers are so wide open, you and I could play receiver there and get open in that offense when it's humming. So I think the receivers will be just fine. The offensive line is going to be a little better. I really do think so. They didn't have a ton of pop last season in the run game. They gave up 25 sacks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when they only threw 316 passes and 8% of your dropbacks result in a sack, it's a problem. It's 1 of every 12. So it is a decent amount of sacks given up. I think the offensive line for Liberty will be better. The Liberty defense, which you initially asked about.
This is the unit I'm not sure about.
I think the front seven could be a little bit tougher at the line of scrimmage. The defensive line does have a pair of guys that can actually create a little havoc and can get to the quarterback. You've got a few guys that have some size in the middle. They're certainly decent per Conference USA standards. Daryl Farrar and Isaiah Guy are certainly solid linebackers. I think the secondary is maybe the biggest question mark, and these are guys that were susceptible to giving up long, explosive plays last season. I don't necessarily see that changing this year. I would imagine at times if Liberty is struggling and they have to bring another guy down into the box and play with an 8-man box, that perhaps they get beat pretty significantly in the passing game. Now, the real question is, can James Madison do that with a new quarterback, rebuilt offensive line, new receiving group? I'm not necessarily sure. I really want to believe Liberty can compete in this game, and I think the offense is going to be able to move the ball. Liberty's going to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball well here in this game. The question is, can they get any stops? The line in this one is really interesting. I think it's absolutely begging for JMU money. It would be so easy to just roll up and plop down your money and put it on JMU laying less than a touchdown. Liberty sucks. Did you see them last year? These guys can't stop anyone. JMU went to the playoff. They're the best G5 team, whatever it might be. And so it just seems so easy. And I really want to back Liberty in this one. The problem is my power ratings do have this projected as JMU minus 10.3. So I'm not there in my power ratings. Philosophically, I am at a point where I want to bet money on Liberty in this one. But really, I think the points are coming, and I think this is one where
I had it typed down waiting for you to say it. That's what I like to.
And honestly, put 50.5, because 50.5 is widely available. And so Liberty gave up 7 explosive plays in last year's meeting against JMU, and I think JMU can have some success there. Liberty only registered 1 play of 20 yards or more in the previous meeting, and they played them pretty competitively. They played, it was 13-10 late in the third quarter before JMU scored three straight times. Liberty had a couple turnovers in the red zone, so last year's 31-13 battle should have had more points. I really think Liberty's explosivity is coming. I think they're going to be able to pop in the run game. Udo's going to create problems. I like over 50.5, and I also do like Liberty's team total over 22.5, which leads me to believe they can hang. This is going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I don't hate the Liberty team. The thing is, I've lost so much faith in Chadwell over the last couple of years.
What the hell's he doing there, man? Why can't he get the ship? They're spending money. They're well-funded.
Yeah, and so many people were really singing the praises of Chadwell 2 years ago, and it's just he's the amount of resources that he has to work with in comparison to the rest of the Conference USA. How is he just not running through that schedule every single year? The bar is so high that he's considered to be a great coach, and he's got more tools than all of his colleagues. Like, how is he not just running through that conference?
Well, what's really stunning for me is that he did run through the conference and he got his team to the Fiesta Bowl. And after they got their ass whipped by Oregon, it was 49-6. And Liberty actually scored on the first drive that they had the ball. They forced a punt. They scored. They missed the extra point. It was 49-0 the rest of the way. That entire program has not been the same since.
Yeah, it really hasn't. It's actually been trending downwards because there was 8-4, a really disappointing 8-4, and then it was 4-8. So I just bet the over 50.5. And by the way, it's 50.5. graphic says 52.5 because there is one 52.5, but it's 50. You can go get a 50.5 right now, which I just took.
And I will say this too, and I'm sure everyone listening in, we still got 430 people, so thank you for sticking with us. In college football totals, some of the key numbers are like 45, 48, 51, 52 are really common. A common score in football is 34-17, 27-24, and that ends up being on 51. 52 is also common, 28-24, 55 is common. You want to get under 51 here, so 50.5 is a full go. It's a full send-off on this bet.
Yep, just bet it. Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to let you take us through Tulane, but first, what reason, and my bad if I'm being pessimistic here, I don't know your thoughts on Duke. What reason do we have to be optimistic about Duke this year? The defense was so disappointing last year, and it wasn't from a lack of talent. They had NFL defensive tackles. They had talent there. They had a defensive head coach. The defense was so, like, if you had to pick one unit in college football that underperformed in terms of the talent and expectations, it might have been Duke's defense. In their last 8 games, they allowed over 6.6 yards per play, 32.4 points per game. Now, part of me wants to say it's Manny Diaz. He's a great coach. He's coming back. He's bringing his DC back. And part of me wants to say, you know what? Who cares what the numbers say? Duke had a successful season. I can get with that. But the thing is, they didn't really replace Aaron Hall on the defensive line. Their NFL caliber defensive tackle is gone. Didn't really place him. Not that the defensive line is bad, but you have to say it's a small step backwards. All the explosive plays they allowed in the secondary, did they really fix that? I'm not even sure what I think about the secondary. Look, it can't get worse than last year, but I'm not sure if I like any of these guys in the secondary. Now, there is one aspect of Duke's defense that I like. It's the linebackers. They've got 2 elite linebackers here. This guy who was the hero in the ACC championship game, and then Nick Morris Jr., who finally healthy. This dude has been injured for the season in 2024 and 2025. So finally, the guy that's supposed to be their main linebacker for what feels like a half a decade now is finally back and finally healthy. So they've got 2 great linebackers in the middle there, which is huge. Outside of that, I think they take a step backwards on the defensive line, and the secondary is probably better, but I'm not really sure if it's a good secondary. So, yeah, the Duke's defense, by proxy, they have to be better than this. I'm not sure if I trust Duke's defense to bounce all the way back in terms of this upcoming season. And the offense, there's no way they're repeating this. There's just no way they're repeating this with losing the superstar quarterback, losing all their wide receivers. You bring in Egan, who, by the way, I like. He could sling it from San Jose State. He also can throw the ball to the other team quite frequently. He also is dealing with an injury. He's been limited during the spring. So this is a downgrade, 100% at quarterback. This is the guy, Nate Shepard, the running back. Here is a piece of the offense that you can hang your hat on. That's a great running back there. And I think based on the way the team's built, they're going to be trying to run the ball, which, hey, maybe they're able to successfully run it. But if you remember last year's Duke team, it was all explosive passing plays, one after another.
Not going to be this year.
Nope. The quarterback's gone. The wide receivers are gone. And also, I don't even know what I think about the offensive line. So basically, I'm going to pass you the ball now. Is Duke going to suck this year?
I think so. I think this is a matchup between 2 teams that I'm really down on this season, to be honest with you. I don't think either are going to be anywhere close to the conference championship caliber teams that we saw last season. You know, the high-level overview is that both of these teams, in my opinion, actually profile very similarly. You're getting Walker Egan and you're getting Zion Christ, who comes in. They're both downgrades at quarterback from what they had last season. Tulane obviously had Retzlaff come in from BYU, and he actually filled the void really well that Mensa left before he went to Duke. But Duke's quarterback, Mensa, was just such a playmaker, a guy who could create in the pocket, a guy who could make plays when the play broke down, a really strong arm. There's a reason Miami paid all the money for him. So you're getting Walker Egan, who I actually like Walker Egan as well, and I think he did a really nice job last year at San Jose State behind a crappy offensive line, really doing well to avoid sacks. He threw the ball pretty well. He had such a pressure relief valve release in Scudero, and I worry that maybe he won't have that sort of player here at Duke to be able to just consistently throw the ball to when the going gets tough. But both these teams have proven running backs. They lose 4 starters from last year's offensive line, and I think both Tulane and Duke have offensive lines that are a work in progress. And so you mentioned Duke's D line. I feel that way as well, and I also feel that way about Tulane's. These teams profile almost exactly the same. Both of these teams have depleted defensive lines. Tulane loses all that D-line production that helped them last year in registering 85 tackles for loss and 36 sacks. You're getting Harvey Dyson, who departs, Santana Hopper, Jordan Norman. They're all big losses. And you look at Duke, 3 of their starting defensive linemen from last season are gone. And I think Manny Diaz, who's a defensive guy, is really trying to scheme it up to create a little bit more pressure. It just did not work last year with the blitz packages that he submitted at certain times, and so it left Duke really susceptible because they were thin in the secondary and they just couldn't cover the pass, which then resulted in so many explosive plays. I'm not sure Tulane is equipped to necessarily take advantage of that, and I also really don't know what I think of the Tulane coaching staff in general with Will Hall coming in. Replacing John Summerall seems like a big downgrade there. I agree with what you said about Duke's secondary. I actually think Duke's secondary is going to be pretty decent per ACC standards. They're not going to be the best in the ACC. They're not going to be the best in the country, but I think they can be a middling ACC secondary this year. They've got 3 starters coming back, plus you're getting Dylan Flowers, Patrick Smith Young from North Texas. Evan Smith comes in from Northwestern. So I will say I think Duke's defense will give up less explosiveness than what they did last season in the passing game, and I don't think that Tulane is equipped to take advantage with explosive passes anyway. I think we're going to see, the loss of the 2 receivers that Tulane had last year. I think it was Omari Haynes who came in from Middle Tennessee who's gone, and then Shabazz is also gone. 2 guys that were really good at stretching the defense, and they struggled with explosiveness anyway, but it's going to be really, really tough for Tulane to score quickly in games this season. We're going to get multiple running back sets, 2 running backs on the field at the same time. You're going to get some tight ends with Tulane this year, which they didn't run a lot of in the last couple of seasons. I want to go back to last year's game between Tulane and Duke because I felt Duke kind of had the short end on a couple of times when they went for it on 4th down. They didn't get it. They had a couple special teams gaffes, which allowed Tulane to start in short field position. Tulane scored a ton of points in the first half because they only had half the field. They started most of their drives inside of, or beyond, I should say, their own 40-yard line. So it really helped them in procuring scoring opportunities. Duke had a flurry of points at the end. But I think Duke struggles offensively to score as many points as they did last season, to register as much explosiveness, to just consistently stay on schedule. Another guy they lose is Anderson Castle, one of their running backs, who was really, really good last year, both 3rd and short, 4th and short, and in the red zone. So it's just going to look a little different. I'm not sure Eget is necessarily going to just throw the ball around the yard like Mensa did. I think Duke struggles to score a little bit. Both these defensive lines being poor, as you had alluded to, is going to invite both of these offensive coordinators to call running plays, in my opinion. I think we'll see a concerted effort on both sides for these teams to run the ball. I think that they will have success in running the ball until the defenses make adjustments. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to lead to scoring. What I do think it's going to lead to is long, meticulous, time-consuming drives. You might get a field position game. I am 1,000% in on the under. And I want to tell everybody listening in, 400 people listening in, Sauce, you and I didn't say a word about any of these games to each other about what we're like. And I've already played this. I found a 54 flat. I already played this under 54. I think we're going to get the long, meticulous drives. We're going to get some field position games, special teams. Could play a factor in whether kickers make or miss field goals, but I just don't think we're getting the points from either team this year. And I don't think either offense is necessarily well equipped to exploit the secondaries. So what that's going to lead to is you're going to run the football. You're going to have long drives, some punts. You're going to get 1 scoreless quarter, and this one's going to stay under the posted total.
Yep, we have been in agreement every single game, and we didn't talk about any of these games beforehand. It's definitely boosts my confidence a little bit that we're seeing it the same. Now, in this next one, man, I don't know. I'm passing the rock to you in these last two. Well, the last one, Fresno State, that's a win total you want to get out. This next one, I feel like if there's one team that I'm wrong about consistently, it's Boise State. I don't think Madison's very good, but you know what? They're back-to-back conference champions. So who the hell am I to say? But if you actually just look, he just didn't play that well last year. I get it. They won the conference. Maybe I should shut the hell up. I just didn't think it was that impressive. Look at their offensive numbers. Down year for Boise State, but they won the conference. I'm interested where you're going with this. I'm just going to pass you the ball. Boise State. What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm crazy in saying that I'm not very impressed in Madison? Is that me being nitpicky?
I thought he was a decent quarterback over the last couple of seasons. I thought he was hurt last year. He was hurt. It's not my opinion. It's a fact. He was hurt last year, and that really inhibited his play for much of the middle of the season, which caused Boise State to lose some games in stunning fashion. I thought that he was a product of the system in 2024. It doesn't take too much to be able to just call the plays, turn around and hand the ball off to Ashton Genty, which is what he should have done. And when you have a threat like Genty in the backfield and you have to garner so much attention to the run game, what it did was it freed up the play action passes. Boise State for years has used their tight ends so exquisitely in the pass game, and they're just easy throws. So I think making the easy throws, staying on schedule, making smart decisions in the red zone, I think he does okay. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the Pac-12, and I don't necessarily know that he's the guy who's going to lead this team into Autzen Stadium, and Boise State's going to keep this game very close. My man, Sauce, I got to tell you, on the surface, when I looked at this one initially, I thought this line looked outlandish. I thought there's no way these guys are going to lose by 4 touchdowns. I can see everybody in the chat saying, Duck, didn't you watch the game in 2024? Boise State only lost by a field goal at the wire. And I can absolutely see why people might think that way. But this is not anywhere close to the same Boise State team that we had in 2024 that ended up making the playoff. We have seen this team struggle away from home as well, away from the blue turf. Last year, they lost on the road against South Florida, 31-7. They lost against Notre Dame. I thought it was a decent showing, but 28-7. They lost against San Diego State, 17-7, and they lost at home 30-7 against Fresno State. So that's 4 times where they only scored once. They got destroyed in the bowl game. I think Boise State with their home field advantage, which is significant, and I will tell you, Boise State in my power ratings, when I'm assessing game to game and week to week, I give Boise State the biggest home field advantage of any team in America because I think that the environment, the late night kickoffs, the blue turf is just such a factor. But I do think that there are some spots the next couple of weeks after this Oregon game where Boise State would be a play on. I really think, it could be Utah State, it could be Memphis, University of South Dakota, who they will destroy. I mean, there are some spots to play Boise, but you're breaking in a new offensive line, and you're breaking in 2 guys on the offensive line for Boise State that are at the most important positions on the offensive line. Left tackle and center are new players, and it could be really some trouble lining up against Oregon's D-line.
That D-line is crazy, dude.
It's crazy. Murray Washington, Bear Alexander, Tuatoti. He's a hybrid player who can play D-line. He can also play some linebacker and drop back in coverage. He's a versatile player. Oregon has 4 guys that are real dudes. Yep. And they're coming after the quarterback in this game.
You can make an argument that they have 4 NFL players on the defensive line. I don't think it's even a hot take to say this is the best defensive line in the country. This is loaded. Bear Alex, look at these 2 defensive tackles are both all Big Ten returning. And then same goes for the edge rushers. This defensive line is a cheat code. I think Boise State might get shut out in this game.
I'm just telling you, Oregon secured 30 sacks last year and allowed 3.4 yards per carry on the ground. And their defense really, when the offense was struggling a little bit on the road, Oregon's defense really came to play for 12 games in the regular season. And I think that front is going to be even better this year. It's going to be very, very hard for Boise State to run the football. It's going to be even harder for them to set up and drop and pass pro. I just don't see how they're going to have success. You parlay all that defensive line talent with the fact that Oregon has one of the best secondaries in the entire country, and Boise State loses their top 4 wide receivers from last season. I don't know that this group is going to be able to make plays against the secondary. I can see consistently Boise State trying to establish the run. I don't think that Boise will ever get into their play action game. I think they'll be in the gun a lot on second and third down. They're going to be just doing pure straight drop back passing concepts. And I don't think that Boise State's receivers are going to be able to make plays against Oregon's secondary. So you're going to have contested catches that are going to fail. They're going to struggle to hold up in pass protection. They're going to struggle to move the ball. And I am just absolutely not confident in any way that Boise is going to be able to run on this front. I like Dylan Riley and Sire Gaines, but I just don't think it's going to work necessarily in this game here. The only possible way that Boise is going to stay in this game at all is if their defense is going to rise to the occasion, and they're going to be tasked with making some significant plays. And I'm telling you right now, Sauce, when you think about how Oregon's offense at times kind of just looked stuck last year, even with Dante Moore and the good running game and all the talent on the offensive line they had last season, they had 4 exquisite receivers who hardly played. Yep. Now you're getting a fresh Decorian Moore. Jeremiah McClellan is back. Evan Stewart, Iverson Hooks, who played at UAB.
I can't believe they got Iverson Hooks too. This guy is so freaking good from UAB. He's like their wide receiver 4. He's like, this is the best wide receiver core in college football as well, I believe, right here.
Very, very close anyway. Certainly top 5. I think when you get Dante Moore, who's going to be that much more experienced, the running back room is loaded with versatile players. Oregon's going to be able to stretch the field vertically and also side to side.
What about the offensive line, though? It's not as good as it was last year.
It's not as good we don't know, because they've got a lot of young guys coming down the pipe that are itching to get on the field, and they always recruit very highly touted offensive linemen at Oregon. So it may be they're going to be young guys. It's going to take some time, but I don't know that this is the spot where that sort of inconsistency is going to rear its ugly head. It is a lot of points. I think Oregon's the right side. Despite the recent history and the fact that Boise State has really fared well against Oregon in the past, I think it's belt to ass, my man. I think it's Oregon winning by 4 or 5 touchdowns, pulling away late, running their offense, not running it up rudely, but running their offense with Dylan Raiola to get him some reps in the second half. It's 42-10, 49-10. I think this is just absolutely a beatdown.
Okay, so I agree completely on the other side of the ball. Like I said, I don't know how Boise State gets a first down against this defense. That defensive line might be the craziest defensive line I've ever seen preseason. That is absolutely,
it's unreal, the talent.
But what I don't really like is the young, inexperienced Oregon offensive line, who certainly, yeah, it's loaded with talent, but it's inexperienced talent in the opener. I think Boise State's defensive line, man, they've got some experience. I wouldn't be surprised if Boise State's experienced defensive line wins some of those battles, and I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon struggles to run the ball, even though they've got 2 superstar running backs there. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon's offense sputters in this game and looks disappointing. It's going to be this is a national championship contender. Everybody knows that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the offense looks a little disappointing. So I would either go under. I'm probably not going to bet this game. If I was to bet this game, I would probably just go Boise State team total under 10.5 or something. I don't think Boise State is going to do much of anything offensively in this game. Yes, if I was to force to bet a side, it would be Oregon, but I would rather go under or Boise State team total under. Boise State team total under is probably the way I would want to do it, wherever that's going to open at.
I had that circled based on spread and total. We're getting a Vegas implied here of about 40-14. 39 to 15 or so. So you're getting about 14.5 as a team total under for Boise. Probably not a bad play there.
Yeah. If I was to bet this game, I would probably do something fun and take like an all Boise State team total under 7.5. Because I really think I don't think they hit double-digit points in this game. So that's how I feel about this one.
I'd feel a lot better about a team total under 14.5. How are they going to matriculate 3 scoring drives?
Exactly. They're not. That's how. They're not going to be able to. All right. Next up. You have the floor. I'm all ears. Fresno State. I have some graphics to put on the screen while you're talking. I have not looked at this team. So I prepared some graphics, and I'm listening to you go through it. So take it away, Fresno State.
Well, I mean, you're getting year 2 for Matt Entz coming over from North Dakota State, and he actually was the linebacker coach at USC before that, or in between jobs, I should say. Offensive coordinator Josh Davis remains after a fairly successful season by my standards after previously coaching at the University of South Dakota. And Nick Benedetto is a defensive coordinator that I really like. He was really successful last year. He previously coached at Northern Illinois and also the University of Sioux Falls before that. Sauce, why is that important, would you think?
What, Northern Illinois?
And University of Sioux Falls, University of South Dakota.
You got me.
It's because I'm from there. I know some of these guys.
Well, I got one thing I did not, you were from there. But one thing I do have to give you credit. I don't know if you remember. You were the one that put me on to Entz. You came onto this show, and one of the first teams we talked about when you came on for the first time last year was Fresno State, and you were telling me about Entz. So you were the one that put me on this guy. I'm an Entz guy now.
I love it. Let's look at 2025. They were 9-4, 5-2 in the conference. They beat Miami of Ohio 18-3 in the bowl game. How did that happen? Well, what I saw was that Entz really instilled a more physical offense during fall camp when he was doing his offensive installs, and they really moved away from a finesse offense. They installed packages where they often used 2 and 3 tight ends. They had single backs. Sometimes they would use 22 personnel, which is 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. E.J. Warner ended up getting the call, and he was okay, but it was such a different offensive style than what he ran at Rice and Temple. Didn't look really good in the opener against Kansas, but then they crank off 5 straight wins. They covered 4 of those games. They blasted FCS Southern University, which not really surprised. They go to the island and they hand Hawaii their only home loss of the season. Surprisingly, they get the shit kicked out of them by Colorado State, the only good performance Colorado State had all season. And then they get shut out at home for the first time in 45 years versus San Diego State.
That defense was awesome. That San Diego State defense was awesome last year, though.
It was, and then everyone's getting ready to throw these guys in the toilet, and what do? 17.5-point dogs. They go to Boise State and they win 30-7, and they kind of right the ship and get themselves in position to win the conference. They didn't, but put themselves in position to kind of get back in the race. I thought it was a successful season, given what personnel Matt Entz had and not really having a ton of the big bodies and a ton of the guys that would have been recruited to run the system. I thought he did a pretty darn good job. So there's a lot of momentum heading into 2026. You're getting Christian Martin, who comes in from Maryland. He really competed well for the QB1 job there. That was a job that came down to the last week of fall camp. He has great mobility. He can make the throws. I really love that we're getting a running threat at quarterback, something that E.J. Warner just really did not have. Fresno State, I love the running back room. We're getting Rayshon Luke, who ran for 702 yards last season. Donaldson comes back after running for 600 yards. Tariq Thomas comes over from Bucknell. He was a kind of a quick, shifty little dude. The point is, they've got dudes in the running back room. They are very, very talented at running back, and they're going to have fresh legs in the fourth quarter, which will help them beyond week 7 this season. The receiver group, not the strength of the team necessarily, but Josiah Freeman's in, Jalen Farrar is back, Avett comes in, Ezekiel Avett is back. I think he's a pretty decent receiver. For me, though, Sauce, the game changer is the tight end room. Jake Applegate is 6'4", 250. Brock Liam, 6'5", 242. Gavin Carella has good size. Jace Nixon, 6'5", 230. This is a versatile bunch. The tight end group is a position that they can use these guys to help in run blocking and help in the run game, and they can pass receive. For Fresno State this year, there's no more important position on the field, in my opinion, for how many points they're going to score. If this tight end room ends up being full of dudes, it's 30 points a game. If they end up being a bunch of goons, it's 23 points a game. I think the tight end room is that important here this year for Fresno State. The O-line, one thing I will say, Matt Entz, what he did when creating his culture at North Dakota State, taking over a winning program, a program that had standards through the roof, is that he did really well at maintaining strength, mental toughness, attitude in the trenches. I thought they were just kind of halfway there last year, but now you're getting a second year in the system. I really think we're in for a good season along the offensive line for Fresno State. Braylon Walton is a young guy, just a sophomore, but he's 6'7", 315, and can really hold his water at left tackle. Last year as a freshman, played the most important position on the offensive line and did pretty well. Braylon Walton, Roland Fullwood is really a rock-solid, big-bodied right tackle. The guards are both seniors. They weren't starters, but they were guys that had played a decent amount of snaps. Henderson is another guy along the offensive line that played with the twos last year, and he's going to be called up. Just decent, above average offensive line talent that I think can really compete in a lot of games this season for Fresno State. You're getting a center, Oscar Wingle, who started at the University of San Diego, which is a non-scholarship FCS league. We'll see how he transitions, and that's really an important position for them to get right. I would imagine if they didn't grab anybody else, they feel pretty decent about him at center. But they're going to be good. They've got good depth in the trenches, and Fresno State's going to be really, really a strong offensive line. Everything I'm looking for in an offensive line this year. The defense, again, you're getting the second year in the system for Fresno State and Nick Benedetto. I'm telling you right now, this guy took a bunch of turds at Northern Illinois, and they were the only team in FBS in 2024 to not allow 400 yards in any game this season. And I really thought that Fresno State's defense came on last year. If you just look at the numbers, they beat Boise 30-7. They beat Wyoming 24-3. They played a real competitive game against Utah State, gave up 2 late touchdowns in the fourth quarter due to turnovers. 41-14 over San Jose State, 18-3 in the bowl game. The defense just really stepped up when necessary.
I have stats here. In their last 10 games, Fresno State allowed 4.24 yards per play. That's it. Under 36% success rate, just 17.2 points per game. So they had a couple rough games early, but the last 10 games, this defense was excellent.
Very excellent. And you're getting guys like Jason Jacks, who's been in the program forever, Martin Owosu, who played at Minnesota and then has been at Fresno State now for a couple of seasons, productive player. Lafita played at USC, started right away here, just a really good player with good size. Exapera, he's a fast defensive lineman that has played in the system for some time now. You're getting a strong defensive line, really a D line that could be 1 or 2 in the Pac-12 this season. I think we're getting a team that's going to create some havoc. They're going to cause problems stopping the run. Offenses against them are going to have some problems. Linebacker group looks pretty shored up. Kevon Thunderbird is a good player. Logan Stutt. Titus Kahavi, I think is how you say his last name. Titus Kahavi is a decent player. And then you're getting Simeon Harris, who plays kind of their nickel position. He can get to the quarterback, and he can kind of play that run-stopping linebacker, but he can also drop back in pass coverage. He had 5 INTs last year. Just a really good player for Fresno State. The secondary is a decent bunch. I think they're going to do well, especially when that defensive line gets more pressure. I think we'll see that manifest itself with better pass defense numbers. And Fresno State was good anyway. They gave up 18 passing touchdowns. They had 20 INTs. So I think we're going to get a productive season from the secondary for Fresno State. I will say this about the schedule. I project 6.65 wins. Now that's just through 11 games. For anyone who doesn't know, the Pac-12 is doing this flex scheduling thing where every team in the Pac-12 is playing a 12-game schedule. They all know 11 of those opponents. just like every other FBS team that's playing 12 games. But the 12th game, the opponent is TBD, and it's going to be a regular season game. It's not a bowl game or a postseason game. So some of the shops out there for regular season wins are counting that flex game. Some of them are not. I'll get into that in a minute. But the opponent is TBD. The Pac-12 kind of has an idea of what those matchups could look like, but not set in stone. The game is not a conference game, but it will be played against a conference opponent. So all of the 8 Pac-12 teams will play each other that final week. It is not a conference game in the standings. This is important for the house rules because, again, a lot of the shops are basing these win totals on an 11-game schedule. Some of them have regular season win totals out, and they're actually counting that flex game regardless of who the opponent is. So it's really important to understand the house rules in the Pac-12, not just Fresno State, but anybody else. If you like the over in a team, you'll want to bet that at a shop that's counting and factoring all 12 games for resolve. If you like any team to go under the regular season win total in the Pac-12, bet it at DraftKings or some of those places where they're only factoring 11 games for the regular season win to resolve. Anyway, if we want to get into the schedule for Fresno State after the opener at USC, I think it's tough. I think there's a possibility here that Fresno State might be able to kind of hang around. And if we're getting a number of 24 or 25, I think.
Oh, come on. In Southern Cal? Oh, man.
Now, Southern Cal is going to get that opening game in week 0 against San Jose State, where I do not think Jose is going to be able to compete, but I think it's a much different situation with Fresno State. So we're absolutely laying the wood with USC in week 1. We're betting the over. We talked about that earlier. The next game, week 0 in USC's second game, it might just, we'll see. But anyway, then after USC, you're getting Sacramento State at home, you're getting San Jose State, and you're hosting Rice. I've got Fresno State as double-digit favorites in every one of those games.
Yep.
Wazoo on the road is going to be really critical for Fresno State in terms of if they're going to compete for the conference title, which I think they can. But a win could certainly make them 4-1. They catch Boise at home, and that's after the Broncos host Utah State. And they have a long road trip to Western Michigan before that. Utah State almost beat them last year. San Diego State on the road will be tough. I don't know that San Diego State's going to be as tough in the trenches this season, and I think San Diego State games are going to be much more high-scoring than they were last season. So you're going to want to look to bet overs in San Diego State games. Utah State, Texas State, Colorado State are all games that Fresno is going to be favored in. I think we're going to get a 3-1 start. I think it could be better beyond that. You get a favorable draw where 5 or more of the conference games are winnable. You get the extra flex game at the end. I'm all over the win total here. MGM actually released this at 5.5, and they're factoring all 12 games, but FanDuel still has this at 6.5. I like Fresno State's regular season win total over 6.5 this year. Make sure you factor the house rules. Do not bet this at DraftKings because they're only counting 11 games. Bet it somewhere else where you can get 6.5, 12 games to resolve. We're going over the win total on this one. I think Fresno State 8-1 or 9-1 is kind of a salty pick to compete for the conference title here. There's only 8 teams. You're getting Oregon State, Colorado State, Utah State, who are going to be down. Washington State has roster turnover. San Diego State's got some turnover. Boise's a decent team. Texas State, I think, is an interesting team, a fun bunch, but yet has not proven that they can win critical games in critical situations under G.J. Kinney. I like Fresno State at 8-1 or 9-1 to win this conference.
So you're do you not happen to know? All right, so I'll find a sports book that's including. I'll look through the house rules and find one that's including all 12 games. I'll tell you on this.
I know FanDuel is. I know MGM is. MGM has 7.5. FanDuel has 6.5. So you want to go over 6.5.
So I'm going to tell you on this. I'm just going to take a few minutes and make sure I'm taking the best option. So, all right, Fresno State, over 6.5 wins. Make sure you check the house rules. Duck, where can they find you?
They can find me over at the Action Network. We are knee-deep in preview season. We're going to have our pod schedule dropping here at the end of the month, conference previews. I'm on the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast with Tim Murray. I do the BetUS show. I'm on twice a week with you now, my man. So there's a lot of places people can find me if they want to talk some college football. I appreciate the guys in the chat. We had a couple guys that were asking about some games. I'll be on twice next week, and it sounds like we get a little break from MLB, so we'll have an extended show, and we'll get to some of these games that people in the chat want to talk about.
Yep, definitely. Wednesday, we're going to try to do some more because MLB All-Star break, I have a little more time and we could hopefully pick a few more topics. So, yeah, we'll be back Wednesday. Everyone, that's his Twitter handle right there on the screen. Make sure you give him a follow, show some support. Go enjoy your Saturday.